We can all imagine what it would feel like. Every one of us. It's harrowing. Not knowing if you still have a job, if your job, your livelihood, the thing that gives you the ability to pay for everything in your life, to support your kids, to buy food, to keep up on your car payment and your mortgage payment and your rent payment. Will it be there tomorrow? As we speak, the fate of hundreds of thousands of human beings, federal workers, is that fear, that anxiety, as it all hangs in the balance. As Trump effectively flirts with mass government firings. He's doing so under the pretext of what is now a 3-day-old government shutdown. Late today, the Senate again voted down a pair of stopgap funding measures, and now lawmakers are leaving. They're done. They're going to go have a weekend because they don't have to worry about those sorts of things. But for government workers, the best case scenario right now is that Trump's threat of mass firings is just more talk, just a threat, a negotiation tactic. What the New Yorker's Susan Glasser called, quote, nothing more than the demand of a hostage taker. Stop me before I cut again, end quote. Or perhaps mass firings really are the point, not the distraction, but the end game. Maybe they're imminent. After all, last night, Trump posted a bizarre AI-generated video. He's doing that more and more lately. It depicts OMB director Russ Vought of Project 2025 fame, to quote Donald Trump, as the Grim Reaper, actually. But new reporting in the Washington Post today, citing two people familiar with the matter, suggests some senior federal officials have quietly counseled several agencies against firing employees while the government is shut down, warning that the strategy may violate appropriations law. Ding, 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 like our third illegal story of the day. I want to bring into our coverage Kelly Daly. She's a specialist for AmeriCorps and is currently furloughed as a result of this shutdown. She's also the president of the AFSCME Local 2027 Union. Angelo is back with us. Angelo, first, take me inside your analysis of this question hanging in the air, whether the shutdown is a pretext for firings or whether it is the talk of firing hundreds of thousands of people with lives and families and car loans and student loans and jobs is just collateral as part of a negotiating tactic.
I mean, you know, one, there's two things that I would look to say to figure out what the true intention here is. Obviously, Project 2025, they were very clear about the amount of federal employees they intended to terminate, fire, and lay off. And we're not even halfway to the number that they sort of, you know, put together in Project 2025. They've so far gotten rid of about 200,000. But I think there's something more revealing, which is that if you look at next year's budget, which of course, that's not even really being talked about right now, right? They're not even trying to pass the budget, but they still put together some version of a document. And if you look at what the Trump administration put together, assuming Congress, the Republican-controlled Congress, would have passed it, they were talking about removing another 114,000 federal employees, independent of the shutdown. That is if they got their ideal scenario. If they got their Christmas tree budget, it would still reduce the federal employee numbers by 114,000. So this notion that somehow they're thinking about laying off employees or being forced to because of this position of the shutdown is nonsense. That's always the intention. I think the only thing that the shutdown does that I think is sort of being lost, and this is the part that I find sort of especially sick about it, is that Russ Vought was very clear that a part of the strategy in the first year is to traumatize as many federal workers as possible, to truly make them feel traumatized. The ones that you can't get rid of, you make them feel traumatized so that they either leave or that they eventually become a lot easier to maneuver and move or push out. And this is a part of that process. This idea that you're going to get fired, it's torture. It's traumatizing. And that's a series of what they've been doing to bring people under heel, to make them soften. No, it's like tenderizing meat. And that's the psychology of all of this that's especially, I think, unsettling. But no, this is nonsense. They were going to get rid of as many people as they possibly could, independent of the shutdown, because they put their ideal right on paper.
Kelly, I saw you nodding as Angela was talking. How are you doing?
Okay. I think I'm better off than a lot of feds with AFSCME's help. We sued DOJ and our agency, and we have a preliminary injunction against being RIFed during the shutdown. However, that's not a permanent solution, and as part of AFSCME and the federal community, this shutdown is just making us political pawns. You know, Congress fails to do its job year after year. They had months to fix the healthcare problem. They chose not to. And feds are traumatized. I'll admit that. But we're also becoming not afraid to stand up and speak out, increasingly more every day.
And feds or the federal employees, sort of shorthand for yourself, and RIFs or reduction in forces, right? Cuts.
Yes, reduction in force.
Tell me what your job is for the government. What do you do?
I'm a program specialist with AmeriCorps Vista, which is the 60s era Volunteers in Service to America program. It's an anti-poverty program that gives Americans the opportunity to do national service for a year.
And what happens
helping
when
faith-based all organizations fight poverty?
And what happens when you're not at work? Who helps those organizations? Who helps those people?
They are on their own. There's, you know, a few people working, as in most agencies, but we're not offering new resources without the budget. Technical assistance is not happening, and they're just waiting for us to come back.